What is up, you guys? This is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown for Gambit. So let's go ahead and get started with his traits. His main attributes, two main attributes, are fighting and energy. He has a 15% crit hit damage bonus. His defensive abilities are deflect and dodge. So he gains a 20% in his multiplier rating. Deflect chance, he has a 3% deflect chance. He gets a deflect and dodge rating of 600 by base. Close quarters, when you hit with the melee power, you gain a damage reduction for 8% for 3 seconds. Kinetic Charge is your resource. Your primary resource is called Kinetic Charge. Powers can spend kinetic energy for additional effects. Kinetic energy does not naturally regenerate. When fully drained, kinetic energy starts to rapidly regenerate, restoring 20% of your maximum kinetic energy per second until full. While recharging effects that spend kinetic energy are not triggered. So let's start with the abilities that I use. I use the dash ability, Good Times Roll on L2 circle. Street Sweep on L2 triangle, Batter Up on circle, All In on X, Trick Card on triangle, House of Cards on L2 square, the Signature 52 Pickup on L2 X, and Royal Flush on square. So this build, I kind of put it all together when I was running Cosmic Trials, trying to figure out like what would be good, and a lot of his abilities are good, but the reason why I chose these specific abilities is because it's quick to use. They do a decent amount of damage, and you're able to move around pretty often. So that's the main thing you want to be doing in your trials, at least in Cosmic Trials, is you want to consistently keep moving. So you don't want to be using something that'll be a charging ability, for example, Grand Slam, or there's another Ace of Spades, because Ace of Spades is a channeled ability, and I mean, although it does nice damage, especially with the talent that it has, you're going to be standing there for 3 charges, and you're going to be taking too much damage. You'll probably die by the time you throw your card or take too much damage. For the dash ability, you obviously want to keep your dash for obvious reasons. You need a dash. Street Sweep, it's a nice AoE ability. Slam your bow staff into the ground to scorch swaths of enemies with a devastating shockwave, leaving behind a lethally hot wake of energy. So it does a nice straightaway AoE. It's not like a circular AoE, but it's just a straightaway AoE, and it does nice damage over time as well. Batter Up, it's a nice AoE crowd control. What it does is it basically staggers your enemies or knocks them down or stuns them. So either it pushes them away and it stuns them. So it's nice to have, especially on the boss when they're about to use their abilities to, one of their abilities with the red dot or red spot. Yeah, it just cancels them from doing that. And the damage is also really nice, as you can see. I mean, I am at 140 something percent, so my base damage for Batter Up is pretty high. All In, the reason why I have All In as my main ability is because it's a move. You use it to move. You're gonna be consistently hitting enemies with it, just like kind of like Deadpool's Canadian Devil in a way. So it's kind of like that. So you're going to be just dashing through enemies and whatnot with this. So it really helps. Even though it doesn't do a lot of damage and whatnot, it's still really helpful, really useful while you're waiting for... Because you only will be using All In while you're waiting for your cooldown for your other abilities. I mean, I was using Wildcard before instead of All In. But the only reason why I stopped using Wildcard is because you have to stop at one spot, throw your card, and then move, keep throwing. You're going to be stuck in one spot while you're throwing it, so that's why I didn't use it anymore. Trick Card is a nice AoE as well. It does a nice explosive AoE, I guess. It's not explosive damage, but it does like an explosion. And you get 3 charges as well, and 100% crit chance too. So you know it's a really nice ability to have, and you get that when you have kinetic energy, you get that extra damage to the area. Royal Flush is it's a piercing ability. It throws 5 cards, I believe, and when you throw those cards, it pierces through the enemy. So nice AoE. You always want to have AoE abilities and single target abilities, but most of the time you want to have AoE abilities in Trials. House of Cards, this is another AoE. It's going to slow your enemies, and it does damage to them as well, and damage over time. So again, nice damage and nice AoE. And then you obviously want to have your signature for any and every character. So the next thing we're going to go through is your talents. I went with Kinetic Energy. Regeneration rate increased from 15 to 20% during its recharge period. So your Kinetic Energy comes back a lot faster. Let me see. Yeah, so feel the flow. King of Hearts. You get a base 700 max health and 70 health on hit and 70 health per second. You can either go with that or sleight of hand. I did go with cheat death at first, but that in Trials it's not gonna matter because it's not gonna help you. When you die, it doesn't matter. It's gonna count as a fail. So, but anything else, you can run cheat death. You can run cheat death after Trials, after you complete it. I would highly recommend running cheat death, I would highly recommend running cheat death. For the next talent, Stack of the Deck, when you fully spend kinetic energy, you gain red suits. The next time you fully spend kinetic energy, instead gain black suits. These two effects continuously rotate and replace each other. Buff effect for red suits, you get melee damage power or melee power damage for 25%, and then buff effect for black suits, ranged power damage 25%. So this one was the best choice for me to use because you're not going to be using this one, and you're not going to use this one. Are you? Increases damage melee. Reduce the kinetic energy cost. Yeah, no, you don't want to necessarily use this because you won't be able to use your ranged powers for the duration. So, 3 of a kind is what I went with because you get the 3 charges for that. Batter up 100% damage. Yeah, so you're gonna be using 3 of a kind for those 3 charges, and Ace of Spades 52. I was using Ace of Clubs, but you know, then it is a chargeable. You have to charge that ability, so that's why it won't be a good idea to use that in Trials. But Ace of Hearts 52 pickup will also periodically throw a fully charged Ace of Spades at a nearby enemy. So I don't know how many hits you get with Ace of 52 pickup. You get 52 hits. So out of those 52 hits, you get, so you'll have a chance to hit with Ace of Spades with all 52 hits, which is really nice to have. So the synergies that are good to have and not good to have, I would use Angela's for the cooldown. Ant-Man's not so much. Beast, melee power is okay. Just letting you guys all know, the synergies for like melee and all that isn't like extremely like noticeable. You won't really notice it at all, to be honest. Only things you'll notice is the movement speed increase, maybe the attack speed a little, but you primarily want to get your attributes. But I'll just tell you which ones are good and not good though. So Angela's is good, Ant-Man's not, Beast is okay, Black Panther's is fairly okay, Widow's is a good one to have because it's a mix of both, Blades is a good one, Captain America's is okay, Captain Marvel's is pretty good because of the energy, Colossus is always pretty good to have for any character, Cyclops it's pretty good actually because of energy and kinetic energy on enemy defeat, Daredevil's is pretty good, Explosive is I think it's useful, I'm not sure. And Doctor Strange isn't useful. Gambit is useful, or you definitely want his because of his attribute. Ghost Rider, not so much, or not really at all. Hawkeye's is always useful for the crit damage. Hulk is actually pretty useful because that's 6% health. Iceman's no. Iron Fist, no, not really. Iron Man, yes. Jean Grey, perhaps, maybe. Kitty Pryde is okay. Luke Cage is good. Magic's is okay, just for the heal and hit. Moon Knight's is pretty good. Nova's is pretty good. Psylocke's is okay. Punisher's is not bad. Rocket's is not useful. Scarlet's is always useful to have. Did I replace Scarlet Witches with something? Let's do that. She-Hulk's is always pretty good to have. Spider-Man's is pretty good. Squirrel Girl, you might want to have that for that extra 4%. Star-Lord, yeah, Storm, not so much. Thor's is okay. War Machine's is good. Wolverine's you don't want. Infinity Points, I just broke 100, so I put 4 points into fighting. If you don't have even 25 points, I would recommend putting your points into Micro Warps for the extra defense, Gravity Well for the extra health, Temporal Loophole for the extra movement and attack speed, Mind Gem for the extra crit damage, or Strike Through for the extra brutal damage. But other than that, if you do have 25 points, I will highly recommend putting points into your attributes, your main attributes. So onto my inventory. So just because, I just want to throw this out there for everyone watching, just because you have cosmic gear does not mean you're going to pass it, and does not mean you're going to have better stats than the purple gear. Because I've seen so many people out there complain that someone with cosmic gear is is gonna be able to so a lot of people think you need cosmic gear to beat cosmic trials. You really don't. You need the stats. It's always the stats, because if you have really bad rolls on your cosmic gear, you're not gonna beat cosmic difficult on trials unless you know how to use your character and you have whatever. But so yeah, all of my stats are like fairly okay. The artifacts I went with, I don't have the ones I want, but I went with the artifacts that could really benefit me in energy and fighting. So Nuts of the Squirrel gave me 3 fighting, so that's the reason why I took that one. I mean, also the crit hit rating is always nice. Rhinoceros figurine, I got this from the supply box. I don't think you can get this from Rhino. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm only using it because it's the only other thing that I had with energy on it. And Ziggurat of Cargo I'm using because it's always a useful one I have anyways. But for your artifacts in general, I would use probably Nuts of the Scroll is a not bad one. Cargo rewrites, or rewrites of cargo, whatever it's called, with a +3 attributes to all attributes is a really good one to have. And Gem of the Curse or Hand of Doom, those are really good ones to have for Gambit. Relic, I went with the Relic of Atlantis just because it gave me the +1 to all attributes, but I would recommend, I mean, it's still a good one because you get the deflect. But Relic of Asgard and Subterranea are your 2, and Xander are the 2 ones that you want to go for. If you want to go for more damage, Xander and Asgard are the ones you're going to go for. If you're going for more defense, Subterranea and Atlantis are the ones you're going to go for. Your Catalyst, I don't have a great Catalyst. This one wasn't too bad, but it has the 2 fighting and signature damage or whatever, but I didn't really use my signature too much. The one you want to generally go for is in the green part of my Catalyst. You want to have the one where you use a med kit and you gain 25% health back and resource. And then if you do have a cosmic Catalyst, when you use a med kit, you want to gain 50% of your health as shield. That's what you want for your cosmic one. Its signature one is pretty good too. The mutation bonus, this is actually not a bad one. Gain 1000 health per second for 10 seconds when you when your health drops below 40%, 30% cooldown. But the one you want to have is when you use a med kit, you gain 5,000 health. Because you really want a catalyst that can benefit your med kits, benefit from your med kits. I'm using the Craven Medallion, which is actually a pretty good one for Gambit. Craven Medallion, maybe Doc Ock's Medallion as well. I think he's energy based. Is he? Yeah, he's energy based. So even the Mega Sentinel amulet or medallion is a good one as well. Let's go over his stats. So my health and damage reduction are pretty okay. But you can see my crit hit is really low. Crit damage is actually in a good spot. Brutal strike rating is actually in a really good spot as well. Brutal damage is really like, it doesn't even, you can't, there's nothing there. But my base damage is really high. So the only things, if you were to wear full purple gear and you were optimized, you would have way more crit hit than I do here. You want to reach to at least 1,500, like 1,500 critical hit rating at the very least. Not necessarily at the very least. You want to be over 1,000 at the least. So that way you're going to be hitting more crits. But 1,500 I would say at the least is what you want to shoot for. Crit damage, you want to shoot for at least 2,500 to 3,000. That's if you're in full purple gear. Brutal strike rating 1,500 to 2,000 as well, full purple gear. And brutal damage rating, you want to shoot for 2,500 to 3,000 brutal damage rating. And then base damage, you want to shoot for 60% and higher base damage. Generally you want to be at 80% and higher, but 60% at the lowest is where you want to be. So your legendary item, I actually need to go and look at that real quick. Headquarters. I would think Savage Acts of Ares would be the best option for Gambit. But let me see.
I sensed that you would come here.
So actually, Cosmic Control Rod would be the best option because he is all energy damage. So Cosmic Control Rod would be, I would say that would be the best option is Cosmic Control Rod. I mean, Macron Crystal is actually not a bad one too. It's a good general, like, well-rounded legendary item as well. Savage Acts of Ares is a really good one to have as well. Shield of Perseus if you're trying to go more defensive or get more defense. And well, Twilight's always good, but you won't. The only problem about Twilight is you won't be able to use your ultimate in Trials. And Ultimate Nullify is a good one, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily use it on Gambit though. So yeah, the Cosmic Control Rod and Savage Acts of Ares are your two best options. The number one option would be the Cosmic Control Rod in my opinion. But now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the abilities, what they look like and whatnot. So with X, this is what it's gonna look like. You're just able to run around. And then with Square, pierces through your enemies. With Triangle, 1, 2, 3. And then with Circle, batter up. It's a nice AoE. With Square, L2 Square, again a nice AoE ability. L2 Triangle, a lineup AoE or whatever, straight away AoE. And then you have your signature. So the way I normally do it is I use all my cooldown abilities as quick as I can, and then I go straight into hitting them around like this. And then, but the only thing you got to keep in mind about this ability is it's gonna push your enemies around. They're gonna get pushed around no matter what. The only ones that won't get pushed around is the boss, I believe, and the mechs. I know for a fact the mechs will not get pushed. So it is unfortunate, but yeah. So yeah, that's really all about the Gambit build that I have for him. It actually worked pretty well. It took me one try to do it with this build. I tried other builds and I couldn't pass it I tried it like 3 or 4 times and couldn't pass it. Even with the same gears, same synergy, same everything, and couldn't pass it. But with this, it took me one try and I passed it with enough time to beat it, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this is all day any day one on the PS4. Go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, comment if this build helped you out, and yeah, have a good day, good night, and peace.